Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of the replay between MaDFrog and Wibang here on Steps of War. Gonna go ahead and unpause it as these Mutalisks just trying to put a lot of pressure over here. Stalker is able to get a lot of damage down, however these Mutalisks just pushing a little bit too aggressively. There are some decent amount of Stalkers here and Mutalisks in the sky, however these Mutalisks just almost suiciding themselves into this group. 2 or 3 of those Mutalisks have already been taken down and now trying to pull back over here. We do have some Zealots and some Stalkers, no Photon Cannons over here at this natural expansion. Back over here we do see the extended thermal lance range has been researched off of double robotics facility, and the main mineral starting locations have been mined out. At some point, MaDFrog will need to get a stronger economy going, as he is now transferring some of these drones over here. Back over here, there's probably a decent amount of saturation over here as well. Not that much, as now those Mutalisks quickly coming into this high ground expansion, now trying to deal damage towards these Stalkers. Mutalisks able to turn around, get one quick shot off, and then continue to put a lot of bit of pressure. Now these Mutalisks moving over here, going to take down some of these pylons. More Stalkers being warped in over here, as we are finally getting a Twilight Council. Stalkers deciding to pull back. Photon Cannons able to get in a couple quick hits there, but now down goes another Stalker. Mutalisks just simply destroying all of these pylons, and Wibang will be supply locked in just a moment. There we go, at 112 over 110. Mutalisks now running into these Photon Cannons, taking them down as well. Down it goes, and now continuing the fight. There goes and more probes, and now going to be putting pressure on this main nexus. This main nexus, however, not that critical of a building. What is a Colossus doing here? Is just offering himself up as a sacrifice to these Mutalisks, as that Colossus cannot hit back any of those units. Stalker's now trying to come in. We do have that Twilight Council now trying to research that blink, and that blink has to be researched in a hurry. Back over here, Stalker still only have that level 1 weapons upgrade, as MaDFrog sitting at 118 over 118 compared to 102 over 68. And now more and more Mutalisks continuing to join this army. 29 armies, a very, very large bunch of Mutalisks. Very difficult for a Protoss player to deal with, especially without Psystorm or any sort of damage splash. No Thors in the Protoss army. So back over here, Mutalisks continuing to just fly around, causing a lot of harassment army-wise. Both sides are even, but it doesn't matter if MaDFrog's army is at the battle and you are not. Down goes this Twilight Council, with that pylon being trying to power it, and now without Stalker Blink, I'm not sure how this is all going to work out. However, Stalkers are now moving in and bringing the fight over to MaDFrog. So MaDFrog now moving out. MaDFrog does have this expansion currently being built over here, and now Mutalisks just finishing off this expansion. More Photon Cannons trying to warp in, only 2 over here. More and more Mutalisks coming in as this army now engages. There is a decent amount of Colossus Stalkers now trying to bring the fight. This is going to be some sort of base race now. There are a decent amount of Photon Cannons here as these Stalkers are now going to engage. Down goes one Stalker, another Stalker getting taken down. Only 4 Photon Cannons to try to deal with 29 Mutalisks. Not going to be enough, as these Mutalisks are just able to just focus down and take down these buildings so quickly. Back over here, Stalkers and now Colossus pushing forward. Will it be enough? There's a lot of static defense as those spine crawlers are attacking and impaling those units here. Zealots continuing to push out. Stalkers now trying to move in as well. And now with all of these Stalkers, are they just going to simply ignore this whole entire army as this group of Mutalisks now want to engage over here? Stalkers continuing to fight. There's not that many Stalkers. Only, 9 Stalkers against so many Mutalisks. Colossus unable to really do anything as these Mutalisks continuing to push. That Colossus now going after more of those drones. However, so many Mutalisks, and now those Mutalisks able to just throw their glaive worms down and simply destroy that army. So Wibang now down to a 600 mineral army, and that's going to be GG. So MaDFrog taking this game on Steps of War here. So Wibang really didn't capitalize on his early 3-gate, 4-gate push because of the early spine crawlers over here. He was unable to try to push in. Zealots were not going to be able to deal a decent amount of damage. Stalkers were not going to be able to deal a decent amount of damage against the amount of spine crawlers and roaches at this front door. Once MaDFrog was able to mine and get a 4-gas play, he just masked up Mutalisks and just continued to pump them out with a lot of drones and spine crawlers. So those spine crawlers were acting as that ground defense as MaDFrog just continued to just pump more and more Mutalisks, adding to this giant clump of units in the sky. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between MaDFrog and Wibang here on Steps of War.